I want to ask you about the British Constitution. If
British
we wanted something more serious.
Oh, right. We get serious, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I read an interesting article in the Telegraph about how Britain became ruled by judges.
Well, it's very embarrassing. I mean, the thing is, like 10 years ago or something, you decided you needed like a Supreme Court.
2005, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, 20 years ago. Recent?
Yeah, 2005.
Yeah. And I'm like, as an American, you see this, and it's like, do you have a sister by any chance? Mm-hmm. And it's like, is older or younger? Older, okay. But it's like your little brother wants to wear your clothes or something. You're like, oh.
Yeah. And it's like we had
You had a thing. Actually, we got the thing from their thing,
But I mean, now we have the situation where whenever the government tries to do anything, it essentially can't act. Like it recently tried to deport
many such cases.
2 migrants in this deal with France.
Did it get anyone over to Rwanda? Did it?
No.
Not even a single one.
There was one who volunteered to go. Yeah.
Because he just had read about Rwanda.
He just wants to go on a holiday.
Yeah.
Hey, Rwanda's a cool place. I mean, it's like a really.
And it doesn't just happen with immigration, but it recently happened with like attempts to do welfare reform and the
migrant hotel
that was blocked by the courts on human rights grounds.
Frankly, your king, this Charles III, fellow, has all of these reserve powers. He can suspend Parliament. He can,
but would never use them.
We were arguing about this earlier because I said that if he tried to take sovereign power now, like fully, he would get, like, democracy would be done away the next day.
I think he could if he wanted to.
The revolution...
But he would never want to.
He would never want to. And one of the... I forget who spoke this line. It's an amazing quote. The line is, the revolution was first in the mind of the king. And so if you look at, for example, the French Revolution... For the cause of this, amazing fucking disaster that is still, like, bedeviling the earth today, was that Louis the 16th basically got kind of...
idiot.
Yeah, well, he was just a fashion slave, and, English ideas were very fashionable, and he had, like, a fiscal problem, and they're like, oh, well, we could be a constitutional monarchy, like England, and he's, like, lying there as the guillotine comes down on us. He's like, we could be a constitutional monarchy like England, right? And because they were all Anglophiles at that time. There was, like, very heavy Anglophilia going on. And so if, Louis the 16th or Nicholas II had not sort of been sympathetic to this idea that maybe I could give some of my power away, the world would be, the sort of the picture of, like, the standard internet meme of, like, the science fiction utopia that we would have unless,
Even James II just sort of deciding to, accept it and go off and...
Well, yeah.
But do you not think, like, if Charles, like, tomorrow was like, I'm going to be the absolute sovereign, do you not think, like, in your own concept of, like, the cathedral and, like, the bureaucrats and the people right below, do you not think they would, like, literally rise up and be like, this is unacceptable?
They don't have the energy to rise up and be like, that's not acceptable. Yeah. And they sort of think of themselves as having that energy, but they actually don't. And this is one of the things, in a way, that the Trump administration kind of proved somewhat accidentally. So it's like, the killing of USAID was really symptomatic in a way, because the reason these Doge nerd kids killed USAID is they're just like, they have this spending fetish, right? Totally retarded. They have this retarded libertarian spending fetish, and they're like, oh, these people don't seem to care what we think. They're just sending money and money and money at the door. What is this money going to? It seems to be fucked. And without understanding it, USAID, they sort of killed this thing. I mean, the empire subsists. But they killed, like, a very essential organ of, like, if I were to describe the history of USAID, I would probably start about 100 years ago, or maybe 150 years ago.
Do you think it's actually useful for soft power?
Well, do you think soft power is useful for anything? Yes, it was certainly useful for soft power. Now, what is soft power doing for America?
Because you do talk about soft power.
It was, but the thing is, they sort of, the point in a way is that they basically took this really prestigious and distinguished and relevant organ of the U.S. government, and they just took it out and shot it. And nobody, not even me, would have, if I thought about it, no, I would have said that they could do this, but I would have been, I'm surprised that they did that. And like the iconic video where they're like actually chiseling the name off the building, and, I think there's a sort of reflex there that would have expected like, wow, here's a super important thing that everyone believes in. There's going to be riots in Georgetown. Like the Foreign Service office, the diplomats are going to riot. They're going to build barricades in Georgetown. And I'm like, no, actually they're not. And it's sort of like, in a way, when in the fall of East Germany, when they shut down the Stasi. And imagine like you're a major in the Stasi, right? In like 1988, right? You're a major in the Stasi. This is you worked hard to get that job. Many people wanted that job. They didn't get it. You did. And when you walk into the room and the DDR is a major in the Stasi, it's like walking to a party. It's like walking to a party. It's like a New York Times reporter where everyone is like, ooh, yeah, wow. Oh, I've wanted to meet you for such a long time, right? You're very like, everyone is kind of explicitly or implicitly sucking your dick, right? And then, and you have this narrative of this position and this tradition that you're part of. And it goes back to like Rosa Luxemburg, and you're like, yes, we're here to create this utopia. We're soldiers of the revolution. And, all right, what if the capitalist imperialists invaded? Well, we would have to go back to being guerrillas and revolutionaries. And we would be in the cafes plotting, just like Lenin, just like Rosa Luxemburg and Karl Liebknecht, We would plot, we would revolt. And, that's sort of the kind of collectively narcissistic narrative in your mind. And then the shit happens and they open the wall and everything is fucked. And the next thing you can't even go to the office because the office is like closed, like the building is closed. And you're like, all right, now we got to do it. Let's order some coffees. And how do you make a bomb again? Right. And then they're just like, and if you say to these people, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry, it really is over. You worked hard for the state. Now the state is Germany as a whole. We understand that you work for the state. Here's your pension check. Think about your roses, right? It takes hard work to have really pretty roses. You've got to prune, you've got to snip, and they just go off and cultivate the roses and it's like done. Right. And that's sort of in a way exactly what's happening to the USAID people right now is they're just like, it's just over. And somehow the Supreme Court let them do this, and it's just over. And of course my response is like, all right, scale that up 10x or 20x.
So do you think we could do that with our quangos and our charities?
Absolutely. Hope not
our
hate,
civil service. Because we have a massive civil service.
Because, of course, and the thing is that basically that civil service, like, who really loves Whitehall?
The people who work there.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the thing.
There's a lot
the people who work there love Whitehall. Who loves Whitehall? Alistair Campbell loves Whitehall.
Yeah, I'm really excited to.
It will be really fun going up against Alistair Campbell.
Sorry. Well, I was going to say about in terms of like the USAID, I just call it USAID, but yeah.
Some call it USAID, some call it USAID. I grew up calling it USAID, but apparently I think more people call it USAID.
Yeah, but I feel like your own, so your like infamous essay on the elves and the hobbits and which was obviously done in response to the Roe v. Wade thing. It felt like it was you saying there's no way you can overturn this without any sort of, backlash. And then the backlash kind of didn't come, which is it's in line with what you said. Like, the
backlash actually didn't come because these regimes are like very, very tired.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the enthusiasm of the people who created them was like incredible. And so it's like, here is one example of that, which when I read, I was like,